It was dry, bright, and cold on the 5th of December, 1888, the day Richard W. Pascoe was born in the English coastal town of Penzance in Cornwall. This was the man who penned the words of what was destined to become an international hit, Little Town in the Old County Down. Though the Pascoe family could not claim any Irish ancestry, Richard's father, Edward, a shipping agent, was known as an amateur singer who had a great love for singing songs from the Emerald Isle. When Richard was a boy, it was not uncommon for the family home to be visited by Pat MacDonald, an Irish travelling salesman who regaled the Pascoes with stories and ballads from the old country. Hoping to make it big in the music business, Richard decided to leave England and emigrate to America. He arrived in New York in 1907 and applied himself to writing a catalogue of songs, many of which he sang at bars and cafes in and around Tin Pan Alley. But as the young Cornish songster soon discovered, the music publishing racket in the Big Apple was just too competitive. Consequently, he left New York in 1914 and embarked on a 600-mile journey across the states to Michigan. Shortly after finding lodgings in Detroit, he wore out a lot of shoe leather in going from one publishing house to another trying to pitch his songs, but was met each time with the usual stock responses. Not interested. Leave it with us. We'll get back to you. Just when he felt like throwing in the towel, he was contacted by two established musicians, 35-year-old Hans van Holstein, also known as Monte Carlo, and 34-year-old Alma M. Sanders, a husband and wife team who lived at 226 Commonwealth Avenue, Detroit. Having been given access to Pascoe's songs by one of the publishing houses, Holstein and Sanders saw merit in Pascoe's lyrics, particularly those with a sentimental Irish theme. And so, in 1918, Watterson, Berlin, and Schneider published That Tumbledown Shack in Athlone, words by Richard W. Pascoe, music by M. Carlo and A. M. Sanders. Recorded by Athlone tenor John McCormack and later by Bing Crosby, it became a huge hit in America and in Ireland. Working together like a finely tuned music machine, Holstein and Sanders quickly set to work on another set of Pascoe's lyrics and came up with what was perhaps the trio's biggest-selling hit of all time, Little Town in the Old County Down. Sure, if I had the wings of a swallow, I would travel far over the sea. The sheet music of Little Town was published in 1921 by Fred Fisher Incorporated in New York, and the song was recorded in the same year by none other than John McCormack for HMV's Victrola label. Interestingly, in late 1921, when McCormack discovered that Pascoe was visiting England, he met up with Pascoe in Penzance and presented him with a signed copy of the sheet music, the note on which simply read, "I like your song." Clearly chuffed at the success achieved by one of their own, on the 11th of January 1922, the Cornishman lauded Pascoe's great success in America and praised his natural ability to write lilting Irish ballads which pull at the heartstrings. The newspaper had every right to boast of his triumphs. Over the next 8 decades, Little Town would be recorded by a plethora of singers in England, Scotland, America, Canada, Australia, and of course, Ireland. In 1926, Pascoe was appointed manager of the Chamberlain Music Company in Detroit, a role which gave him ample opportunity to seek out aspiring songwriters and publish their works. At the end of July 1951, when aged 63, he finally decided to pay his first visit to the country he had written so much about, Ireland. Having taken in the breathtaking views of Giant's Causeway in County Antrim, and of course the Mourne Mountains in County Down, he gave an interview to the Northern Whig, a newspaper based in Belfast. Drawing on his poetic way with words, he told the reporter, "The bees do hum and the honeysuckle grows thickest here. I am going to write a lot more Irish songs." When asked if he was enjoying his holiday, he replied, "Ireland is the most beautiful country in the world." Shortly after Alma M. Sanders died in 1956, Hans van Holstein moved to Houston, Texas, where he died in 1967. Richard W. Pascoe died on the 23rd of December, 1968, in his adopted hometown of Detroit. Little Town in the old County Down will surely stand as a glowing testament to his songwriting skills and his dogged determination. To paraphrase that old saying, you can't keep a down man good. And so ends our story of Little Town in the old County Down.
The wings of a swallow, I would travel far over the sea. Then a rocky old road I would follow to a spot that is heaven to me. When the sun goes to rest way down in the west, then I'll build such a nest in the place I love best. In that dear little town in the old County Down, it will linger way down in my heart. Though it never was grand, it is my fairy land, just a wonderful world set apart. Oh, my Ireland of dreams, you are with me, it seems, and I care not for fame or renown. Like the black sheep of old, I'll come back to the old little town in the old County Down. In the evening when shadows are fallen round the old door without any key, there's a voice in me dreams ever calling, there are eyes ever watching for me. There is someone I bless with true tenderness, and her lips I'll caress when I bring happiness. In that dear little town in the old County Down, it will linger way down in my heart. Though it never was grand, sure it's my fairy land, just a wonderful world set apart. Oh, my Ireland of dreams, you are with me, it seems, and I care not for fame or renown. Like the black sheep of old, I'll come back to